change is upon us. You fight against it, you're going to have a really tough time. If you figure out what you're supposed to learn, how you're supposed to go forward, how everything might actually fit together, you're going to be just fine. Welcome to Morning Meditation. I am Ann Morrison, and this is Ahzhension Studios. Welcome. So, 2025, when this is recorded, it's a fairly tumultuous year, emotion-wise, change-wise, and there's a lot of reasons for that, depending upon which practitioner you talk to. Transition into the age of Aquarius. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Simply time for a change. Old structures are breaking down, new things are happening. An unsustainable lack of human compassion, a disconnectedness. There's a lot of things that you can blame it on, but we're not here to blame, we're here to understand. And change is the only constant that I know about. So, what to do when you're faced with change and the scary emotions that sometimes brings. What do? You step back and you breathe. And you let out all of the initial reactions. We don't want to put them out in the universe unless it's absolutely necessary, but hey, there's a time when it's absolutely necessary. Let them go, give them voice, write them down. Sing the frustrations to a song that you know. Do something with them. And then, and especially for women, because we think while we talk. I do. I am making a generalized assumption here that most women do. If it's not true in your case, I apologize and I embrace you exactly as you are. If you are a man, what that does is it gets them out of sitting in there so that you can then start to see it from a different perspective. There's all sorts of this wonderful art out there right now that has, the dragon in the back corner. And it looks like it's following you as you're walking by, as if the corner were like this. We have to remember that so much of our lives is an optical illusion. It feels solid. The pain's real. The circumstances, the consequences, they are all very solid and tangible, and they're absolutely real. And they are an illusion. So, instead of thinking that this is the only way, this is the only option, this is the only thing, sit back, get it out, however it works for you. And then start to approach it from a different angle. Okay, the only way I can see right now is this way. Is there any other way? It doesn't even have to be feasible. Is there any other way? Because starting to think about any other way is going to help your brain get on the path of any other way. And as you keep walking down the any other way path, you will find any other ways. And you may even find reasons. And you may even find understanding. And hopefully you're walking the whole thing with compassion for yourself and for whatever the situation might be. There are times for beginnings, there are times for endings. But most of the time what we're doing is taking the journey. Yesterday, I was losing my biscuit seriously because of a pretty major change. And got it out. And then I sat. And of course, I talked with Bill. That's, my best friend. And through the talking and through both of us thinking, beautiful solutions arose. And then those solutions aligned with our life purpose in wonderful ways come this morning. And all of it just makes perfect, beautiful, wonderful sense. And it's an exciting part of the journey. I mean, even the part in the log ride where you're coming up to the very tall that takes you down in the splashes at the end. The part that's scary isn't the and it isn't the splash. The splash is fun. It kind of like takes you out of it all. It is that moment before it happens where it's sitting there teetering just over the edge but not quite fallen. And in a huge change situation, we can so easily get stuck in that little point of teetering right before you. And you want the splash at the end. That's why you go on a log ride. And our splash is going to be happening when we finally get a vacation next week. And I am so wonderfully grateful. Our new client is starting at the end of the month, and so the timing works out beautifully on everything. After 24 hours looking at it, is a whole different scenario. And it's all right, and it's all good, and it's all on the path, and it all makes perfect sense. So, thank you, universe. Thank you, all of the manifestations. Thank you, all of the plans. I see things around the world, and I try to send out light and love for what's going on that is dehumanizing. And that's what I can do. And then I have to think about, how am I living my plan? What more can I do? And does it fit within my plan? Our whole purpose here is to live our journey. And sometimes our journey has other people along. And it's good. Heaven knows, without my daughter here, I wouldn't be able to go on vacation. Her and the girls are going to take care of the dogs and the house and the business. And we get a week to relax and not be in charge of all the decisions, which is wonderful. So, today I think we're going to figure out, go create some new synapses that look at the other angle synapse. What is the other way? The other way, the other way, the other way, the other way. A lot of us have gotten so used to only one thing being true. And, back in the boomers, only one thing was true. It was very safe, it was very secure for an awful lot of people. And it wasn't the majority of people. And it lost out on so much wonderful innovation and creation. But that's where some of these lingering, historically legacied emotions come from. There's only one way thing. That's big time boomers. And I am so glad that it worked for the people that it worked for. And I am so glad that we aren't there anymore. Thank you. I'm glad we're here. I'm glad this change is taking place. And I'm glad that I get the opportunity to keep exercising my what's the other way muscles. So as we go into meditation today, we're going to strengthen that bridge. And we're going to do it right next to the one-way bridge. Some things are one way. And that's okay too. My morals They're one way. Oh, well, most of them. But isn't that human? That's the total human experience. So we're going to start off in our third eye, working on brain synapses. Feel the indigo blue coming up into purple. Unconditional love. Download the next step. Pull it out. Pull it out. Feel the different colors harmonizing, vibrating, creating this wonderful music of life. Bare feet on earth, if at all possible, connect. Be part of the conversation. Find yourself as the conduit in between the solid and the ether. Mind palace. Calm the tornado. Speak it loudly. Rant there. Rant into a funnel for rants that goes into a bottle that goes directly down to the drain. Rant it out. Get that initial emotional reaction, which is so human, so real, and sometimes so necessary. Get it out. Make way for creation. And let's go. Doors. Windows of opportunity. Drains. And dust on the chair in the middle. We're going to go into a door back over here. That's the door. Has a really well-worn bridge of, that's the only way. There's one way to boil an egg. There's one way to butter toast. And the problem caused by this situation has to go this way. And the bridge right next to it, the other way bridge. The other way bridge is just as solid, it's just as sturdy. And you can choose by multiple connectors along the way to just jump over to it. And on the other bridge, maybe a butter toast corner to corner. Two different things, almond butter and jelly. And maybe you boil an egg and leave the yolk runny. Maybe you just try something new. But for right now, we're going to take this problem and we're going to change the name of it. It's an opportunity now. And as soon as you decide to stop calling things a problem and start calling them an opportunity, it's so much easier to walk that other bridge. You may still go back to the one way. It's open all the time. Nobody ever closes that way off. That's one of the choices. And we're going to take this opportunity. How is this situation an opportunity? I got all that knee-jerk stuff out the way. Now, how is this situation an opportunity? Maybe if I look at it from around here. Maybe I cut the toast into 4 little squares. And then I can put all sorts of stuff on the different squares. And there'll be fun snacks. Okay, take a look over here. What if I have a tortilla? A little bit of green chili. Some nice spice. If I start my day all zesty. What if I look over here? Maybe I don't want to boil my eggs. Maybe I want to scramble them and make them into an omelet. Now, why on earth would my breakfast or my morning routine have to change? It doesn't. But change is in the air, and every change is an opportunity for wonderful, beautiful, path-driven, journey-focused growth. So maybe changing my perspective with a little piece of toast in the morning can help me to open up new perspectives when I am facing multiple opportunities that bring a little bit of note of fear with them. And maybe that will help me to see that this problem never was a problem. It always was an opportunity for a new experience, a step in growth, a forward movement. And all I have to do is look at all the angles to find out which one is the one that I was meant to walk. And maybe it is back here on this only one-way road. But now I have a choice. And the choice is everything. Back into the third eye. Connect. Accept the next step. It will help with this choice. And you can grab that opportunity and you can ride that puppy like a bucking bronco. Yeehaw! Bring it down. Down. Connect to the earth. And one statement before we go. Open. You got this. Namaste.